Do you dream of success, but avoid the hard work needed to achieve it? This story may change you forever. Listen carefully, because ambition without effort is like a seed that is never planted. It will never grow into anything real. Ambitious but lazy? This story will change you forever. Welcome to Learn with Tales, your home for emotional and inspiring stories that help you learn English in a natural, easy, and enjoyable way. Here we tell meaningful stories with simple English, clear narration, and real-life lessons that grow both your language skills and your mindset. This is the story of John, a young man with big dreams but a lazy heart. John wanted to be successful. He wanted respect, wealth, and comfort. He often told his friends, "One day I will be rich. One day I will build a big house. Just wait and see." But when the morning came, John stayed in bed long after the sun had risen. When others were working in the fields, he sat under the shade of a tree. When his friends studied or learned new skills, John wasted time talking, laughing, or daydreaming. His heart was full of ambition, but his hands were empty of action. As the years passed, John saw his friends change. Some became teachers. Others started small businesses. Even those who had little education found work and improved their lives. Slowly they built families, homes, and futures. John, however, remained the same. He still dreamed, but he had nothing to show for it. One hot afternoon, John sat under a tree by the marketplace. He watched people busy with their trades: a blacksmith shaping iron, a farmer selling vegetables, a tailor stitching clothes. Everyone seemed to have purpose, while he sat with nothing but his thoughts. An old man noticed John and walked over. His face was lined with years of wisdom, and his eyes were calm but sharp. He asked, "Young man, why do you sit here all day doing nothing?" John answered confidently, "I am waiting for success to come. One day I will be a great man." The old man chuckled softly. He pointed toward the fields outside the village. "Do you see that farmer?" he asked. John looked. A farmer was bent over, planting seeds in the soil. The old man continued, "Every day the farmer plants, waters, and works. In time, those seeds will grow into crops, and he will harvest food to feed his family. Tell me, John, if the farmer only sat and dreamed of a harvest, but never planted anything, what would grow?" John lowered his eyes. The old man's words struck him deeply. For the first time, he realized that his dreams were like unplanted seeds, beautiful in his imagination, but worthless in reality. That night, John could not sleep. He lay awake, hearing the old man's question echo in his mind. What would grow? The answer was clear: nothing. Nothing would ever grow unless he acted. The next morning, John awoke before sunrise. For the first time in years, he refused to waste the day. He went to the farmer and asked him if he could help. The work was hard. His hands blistered, his back ached. But when the farmer gave him a small coin at the end of the day, John felt something he had not felt in years: pride. Day after day, he returned. At first, the villagers laughed. "John, the dreamer, is finally working," they teased. But John ignored them. He kept working, learning, and saving. Slowly, his habits changed. He learned to wake early, to value discipline, and to find strength in effort. Months passed. John no longer looked like the lazy young man who sat under the tree. His body grew stronger, his mind clearer, and his confidence began to shine. He saved enough to rent a small stall in the market where he sold grains and vegetables. Over time, his business grew. John expanded, buying tools, hiring helpers, and trading with nearby towns. Years later, he built the house he had once only dreamed of. But this time, it was not built on empty words. It was built on action, discipline, and hard work. John often remembered the old man's words. He realized that ambition is like a seed, but without effort, it stays buried forever. Only through consistent action can a dream take root and grow. Moral of the story? Ambition without effort leads nowhere. Discipline and action turn dreams into reality. Do not wait for success to come. Plant your seeds, water them with daily effort, and watch your life bloom. Thank you for listening to this story. Remember, success is not built in one day, but every day you take action. Good night and sweet dreams.
The power of words. A kind word can change a life. Do you know this story? It is about how one simple word, spoken with kindness, can change the path of a person's life forever. Listen carefully. You may discover the hidden power inside your own voice. Many years ago, in a busy town filled with markets, shops, and noisy streets, there lived a young boy named Daniel. Daniel was shy, quiet, and often felt invisible among his classmates. At school, he struggled with reading, and because of that, other children sometimes laughed at him. Every laugh cut deep into his heart, making him believe that he was not smart enough, not good enough. One day, during class, Daniel tried to read aloud from a book. His voice trembled, the words twisted, and the room filled with whispers and giggles. His face burned with shame, and tears filled his eyes. He wanted to run away and never return. But then, something unexpected happened. His teacher, Mrs. Williams, gently placed her hand on his shoulder and said, "Daniel, you did wonderfully. You have a strong voice, and with practice, you will be a great reader. I believe in you." For the first time, Daniel felt a spark of hope. Those simple words, "I believe in you," planted a seed deep inside his heart. He carried them home, and that night, instead of giving up, he opened his book and tried again. His voice was still shaky, but now he believed he could improve. Days turned into weeks. Daniel practiced every evening, whispering words to himself under the candlelight.
Whenever he struggled, he remembered his teacher's kind voice, reminding him that he was capable. Slowly, his reading improved. Years later, Daniel grew into a confident young man. He not only became a skilled reader, but also discovered a love for storytelling and writing. He began sharing his stories with others, and soon people gathered to listen to his words. The boy who once thought he had no voice now inspired others with his voice. One evening, after giving a speech to a group of students, Daniel was approached by a little girl. She looked nervous, clutching a notebook in her hand. She whispered, "Sir, I want to be a writer, but people say I'm not good enough." Daniel knelt down, smiled warmly, and said, "You are good enough. You have a voice worth sharing. Keep writing, keep believing, and you will shine." At that moment, Daniel realized something powerful. Just as his teacher's words had changed his life, his words could now change someone else's. The cycle of kindness continued, passed from one voice to another. Moral of the story: words are not just sounds. They can wound or they can heal. They can destroy dreams or they can give birth to new ones. A kind word spoken at the right moment can change the direction of a person's entire life. Thank you for listening to this story. Remember, the words you speak carry great power. Use them to encourage, to uplift, and to inspire. More short stories? Subscribe. Good night and sweet dreams.
The Two Wolves Inside Us. Do you know this story? It is a tale from an old Native American tradition. A story about a battle that does not happen outside, but inside the heart of every human being. Listen carefully, because this story may help you understand yourself more deeply. Long ago, in a small village surrounded by forests and rivers, there lived a wise old grandfather who was loved and respected by his people. He had lived many seasons, seen many struggles, and carried a calm spirit that made everyone trust him. One evening, as the fire burned gently under the starry sky, his young grandson came to sit beside him. The boy looked troubled, his face tense and his eyes full of questions. After a long silence, the boy finally spoke. "Grandfather, I feel so confused. Sometimes I want to be kind and good, but other times I feel angry, jealous, or greedy. It feels as if there are two parts of me fighting all the time." The grandfather nodded slowly. He gazed into the fire and then turned to the boy with a gentle smile. "My child," he said, "you are right. Inside every person there are two wolves that live together, and they are always fighting." The boy's eyes widened with curiosity. "Two wolves? What are they like?" The grandfather took a deep breath and began to explain. "One wolf is dark. It is made of anger, envy, greed,
arrogance, lies, and fear. It is the wolf that wants to destroy, to hurt, to take without giving. The boy imagined this wolf, its sharp teeth, burning eyes, and restless hunger. Just thinking about it made his heart beat faster. Then the grandfather continued, "The other wolf is light. It is made of kindness, love, humility, hope, peace, courage, and truth. This wolf does not seek to harm, but to heal, to give, to forgive, and to bring harmony." The boy closed his eyes and pictured this second wolf. Its eyes were calm, its presence strong yet gentle, and being near it made him feel safe and at peace. After a pause, the boy asked with a worried voice, "But grandfather, if these wolves are always fighting inside me, which wolf will win?" The grandfather looked deep into the boy's eyes. He reached out, placed his weathered hand on his shoulder, and said softly, "The one you feed." The boy thought about this answer for a long time. "What does it mean to feed a wolf?" he asked. The grandfather explained, "Every thought you think, every choice you make, every action you take is like food. When you choose anger, selfishness, or hatred, you are feeding the dark wolf. When you choose kindness, honesty, and love, you are feeding the light wolf. Whichever wolf you feed more will grow stronger, and that wolf will shape your life." The boy lowered his head, remembering moments when he had been unkind to his friends, when he had lied, or when he had shouted in anger. He realized that in those moments he had been feeding the dark wolf without even knowing it. The grandfather, seeing his grandson's worry, spoke with warmth. "Do not be afraid, my child. Both wolves will always live inside you. You cannot completely destroy one, but you can choose which one to make stronger. Each new day is another chance to choose again. Even if you fed the dark wolf yesterday, today you can begin feeding the wolf of light." The boy's heart felt lighter. He understood now that his life was in his own hands, shaped not by chance, but by the choices he made every single day. As the fire continued to burn, he silently promised himself to feed the wolf of love, courage, and truth. Moral of the story: inside all of us, the battle of the two wolves never ends. The wolf that wins is the one we choose to feed with our thoughts and actions. Choose wisely, because the wolf you feed will become your destiny. Thank you for listening to this story. Remember, every choice is food for one of the wolves inside you. Feed the wolf of kindness, and you will live in peace. Feed the wolf of love, and you will create a better world. More short stories? Subscribe. Good night and sweet dreams.
The Bamboo and the Oak Tree. Do you know this story? It is about two trees, one tall and proud, the other humble and flexible, and how they faced
about the greatest storm of their lives. Listen carefully, for this tale carries a lesson of true strength. Long ago, on the edge of a peaceful village, there stood a mighty oak tree and a cluster of bamboo. The oak was tall, thick and strong, its branches stretching wide into the sky. It was proud of its size and its strength. Beside it grew the bamboo, slender, green, and quiet. The bamboo swayed gently in the wind, bending gracefully whenever the breeze passed by. Though smaller and thinner, it stood tall in its own way, humble yet steady. One sunny afternoon, the oak looked down at the bamboo and said proudly, "Look at you, so thin and weak. When the wind blows, you bow and bend as if you are afraid. But look at me, I stand firm and unshaken. No storm could ever bring me down." The bamboo replied softly, "Dear oak, I may bend, but I do not break. Strength is not only in standing tall, but in learning to endure." The oak laughed loudly. "Ha ha! We shall see," it said. Seasons passed. The sun shone, the rains came, and both the oak and bamboo grew in their own way. But one day, dark clouds filled the sky. A storm unlike any the village had seen before was approaching. Thunder roared, lightning flashed, and fierce winds howled across the land. The oak stood tall, determined not to move. "I am strong, I will not bow," it shouted against the wind. But as the storm raged, the powerful wind pushed harder and harder against its branches. The oak resisted with all its might, until at last, with a deafening crack, it split and fell to the ground. The bamboo, meanwhile, swayed back and forth. When the wind blew hard, it bent low, almost touching the earth. When the wind passed, it rose again, standing tall once more. No matter how fierce the storm became, the bamboo never broke. When the storm finally ended, the villagers came out of their homes. They saw the mighty oak lying broken on the ground, while the bamboo still stood, bruised perhaps, but alive. The bamboo whispered gently to the fallen oak, "True strength is not in resisting everything. It is in being flexible enough to survive." Moral of the story: pride may stand tall, but it can also fall. Flexibility, humility, and resilience are greater strengths than stubborn pride. In life's storms, it is not the hardest who survive, but those who can bend and rise again. Thank you for listening to this story. Remember, strength is not just about standing firm, but about bending gracefully when life's storms come. Be like the bamboo, humble, resilient, and unbreakable. More short stories? Subscribe. Good night and sweet dreams. Do you dream of reaching something big in life, but feel afraid to begin? This story may change the way you see new beginnings forever, because even the longest journey always starts with a single step. The first step of a long journey. Welcome to Learn with Tales, your home for emotional and inspiring stories that help you learn English in a natural, easy, and enjoyable way. Here, we tell meaningful stories using simple English, clear narration, and real-life lessons that grow both your language skills and your mindset. Long ago, in a quiet village surrounded by mountains, there lived a young man named Wei. Wei often dreamed of traveling beyond the mountains to see new lands, meet new people, and learn new things. Yet day after day, he sat in the village square, thinking, "The world is too big, the journey is too far. I cannot do it." An old traveler passing through the village noticed Wei's sadness. He asked, "Young man, what troubles you?" Wei replied, "I want to see the world, but the road is too long. How can I ever walk 1,000 miles?" The traveler smiled gently and said, "My son, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. You do not need to walk the whole road today. You only need to take one step forward." That night, Wei could not sleep. He thought about the traveler's words. The next morning, with trembling legs, he packed a small bag, said goodbye to his family, and took his very first step beyond the village gate. At first, he felt afraid. The mountains seemed endless, and the road stretched far. But with each step, his courage grew stronger. He met kind strangers who shared food. He crossed rivers, climbed hills, and learned lessons from every experience. Weeks turned into months. Wei discovered that the road, though long, was not impossible. It was only a series of steps, one after another. Years later, Wei returned to his village as a wise traveler. He told the young people, "Do not fear the distance of your dreams. Fear only the failure to take the first step. Once you begin, the road will open before you." Moral of the story? Great journeys and great successes do not happen in one day. They begin with small steps, taken with courage and persistence. If you want to change your life, start now with the first step. Thank you for listening to this story. Remember, the future you dream of is just beyond your first step. Be brave, begin today, and the journey will carry you forward. More short stories? Subscribe to Learn with Tales. Good night and sweet dreams. Do you want to improve your English while enjoying a meaningful story? Then listen carefully, because this tale may change the way you control your emotions forever. The Wolf Who Jumped for Anger. Welcome to Learn with Tales, your home for emotional and inspiring stories that help you learn English in a natural, easy, and enjoyable way. Here, we tell meaningful stories using simple English, clear narration, and real-life lessons that grow both your language skills and your mindset. Deep in the forest, there lived a strong gray wolf. He was feared by many animals for his sharp teeth and fierce growl. But inside, the wolf had a weakness. He was quick to anger, and he often let his emotions rule his decisions. One sunny morning, as the wolf wandered near the cliffs, he saw a little bird perched on a rock, singing happily as if it owned the sky. The wolf thought, "How dare this tiny creature mock me? I am a mighty wolf, yet this bird sings freely in front of me." His pride was wounded, and his anger burned like fire. The bird, unaware of the danger, hopped from branch to branch, still singing sweetly. The wolf's eyes narrowed. "I will catch this bird, even if it is the last thing I do." The bird then flew to a branch hanging out over the edge of the cliff. It chirped playfully, as if teasing the wolf. Without thinking, the wolf lunged forward in rage. He leapt with all his strength toward the branch, not for food, not for survival, but simply because anger had taken control. But the bird, light and free, spread its wings and flew away in an instant. The wolf, however, had already jumped. His powerful body sailed into the empty air, and with a terrible crash, he fell deep into the rocks below. His prize? Nothing, not even a feather. His anger had tricked him into destroying himself. The forest grew silent, and the lesson was clear. When you let anger guide your choices, you cannot take them back. A single moment of rage can cost you everything you have built. Moral of the story: never make decisions in anger. Emotions may rise like fire, but once the fire burns out, you cannot rebuild what has been lost. Think, breathe, and wait, for patience protects you, while anger destroys you. If this story touched your heart, remember, there are many more waiting for you here. Stories teach us not only English, but also life. Keep practicing, keep believing. See you soon. Do you want to improve your English while enjoying a meaningful story? Then listen carefully, because this tale may remind you of the wisdom that only a mother's words can give. A mother's lesson. Take the first step forward. Welcome to Learn with Tales, your home for emotional and inspiring stories that help you learn English in a natural, easy, and enjoyable way. Here, we tell meaningful stories using simple English, clear narration, and real-life lessons that grow both your language skills and your mindset. In a quiet village, there lived a young man named Aaron. Aaron had many dreams in his heart. Dreams of building a better future, learning new skills, and traveling beyond the mountains. But instead of acting, he always stayed home, saying, "It's too hard. I will start tomorrow." One evening, Aaron sat at the doorstep, staring at the setting sun with a heavy heart. His mother, a kind but wise woman, came to sit beside him. She looked at her son's tired eyes and asked gently, "Why do you look so lost, my child?" Aaron sighed. "Mother, I want to change my life, but the road seems too long. I am afraid I cannot run fast enough. What if I fail? What if I cannot keep up?" His mother smiled softly. She held his hand and said, "My son, listen carefully. If you cannot run, then walk. If you cannot walk, then crawl. Do whatever it takes, but move forward. Because if you never begin, your life will always remain the same." Those words touched Aaron's heart deeply. He realized that his waiting had given him nothing, but his mother's wisdom gave him courage. The next morning, Aaron decided to take his first step. It was not a big step, but it was enough to begin. He helped his father in the fields. He studied a few pages from his books, and he practiced a skill he had always postponed. At first, everything felt difficult. His body grew tired, and his mind whispered, "Give up." But then he remembered his mother's words, "If you cannot run, then walk. If you cannot walk, then crawl. Do whatever it takes, but move forward." Days turned into weeks, and Aaron's life slowly began to change. He became stronger, more confident, and more determined than before. His neighbors noticed the difference, and even his friends were inspired by his growth. Years later, when Aaron had built a successful life, he often shared his mother's wisdom with others. He told young people, "My life changed the day I listened to my mother. She taught me that the future does not come to those who wait. It comes to those who take the first step forward." Moral of the story? If you don't start, nothing will ever change. You don't need to run fast. You don't need to be perfect. Just begin. Even the smallest step forward is better than standing still. Thank you for listening to this story. Remember, a mother's wisdom is often simple, yet it can guide you for a lifetime. Run if you can, walk if you must, crawl if you need to, but always move forward. If this story touched your heart, remember there are many more waiting for you here. Stories teach us not only English, but also life. Keep practicing, keep believing. See you soon. Do you want to improve your English while enjoying a powerful and inspiring story? Then listen carefully, because this tale will show you the strength of a fighter's heart. The boxer's heart. Never give up. Welcome to Learn with Tales, your home for emotional and inspiring stories that help you learn English in a natural, easy, and enjoyable way. Here we tell meaningful stories using simple English, clear narration, and real-life lessons that grow both your language skills and your mindset. In a crowded city gym, there was a young man named Kenji. He was small, quiet, and often bullied in school. Many said he was too weak to fight, too soft to ever become a boxer. But Kenji had a dream. He wanted to step into the ring, to prove not only to others, but to himself, that courage can beat fear. His training was brutal. He woke before sunrise, running through empty streets, punching the heavy bag until his hands bled, skipping rope until his legs burned. Every day his coach shouted, "Again, faster, stronger." And every day Kenji pushed forward, even when his body screamed for rest. Other boxers laughed at him. "You're too small," they said. "You'll never last one round." But Kenji clenched his fists and whispered to himself, "I won't quit. I will fight." Finally, the day of his first real match arrived. The arena lights burned bright, the crowd roared, and Kenji stepped nervously into the ring. Across from him stood a taller, stronger opponent, a fighter known for his power punches. The bell rang. Within seconds, Kenji was hit hard. His body shook, his vision blurred, and he fell to the canvas. The referee began to count. 1, 2, 3. The crowd shouted, "Stay down, it's over." But in his mind, Kenji heard his coach's words. A real boxer isn't the one who never falls. A real boxer is the one who stands up again. With trembling arms, Kenji pushed himself up. At the count of 8, he stood tall, fists raised, eyes burning with determination. The fight continued. Each round was a storm of pain, but Kenji refused to quit. He remembered every early morning run, every bruise, every drop of sweat. With each punch, he told himself, "I will not give up, not today." In the final round, when both fighters were exhausted, Kenji found his moment. With one last burst of strength, he threw a powerful combination, a left, right, uppercut, and his opponent crashed to the floor. The referee counted, and this time it was the other fighter who could not rise. The bell rang. The crowd erupted in cheers. Against all odds, the boy they once called weak had won his first victory. That night, Kenji sat alone in the empty gym. His body ached, his face was swollen, but he smiled through the pain. He had proven something greater than victory, that the heart of a fighter is not measured by size or strength, but by the will to never give up. Moral of the story: life will knock you down, but defeat only comes when you refuse to stand again. No matter how many times you fall, rise with courage, because persistence turns weakness into strength and dreams into reality. If this story touched your heart, remember, there are many more waiting for you here. Stories teach us not only English, but also life. Keep practicing, keep believing. See you soon.